from Samsung High School. Today I want to talk about balancing what society expects of me and what I expect of myself. When I first chose this topic, I didn't want to tell a typical story, like I wanted to be a writer, but my parents forced me to become a doctor and this kind of thing. In fact, I couldn't because this is not my story. I grew up abroad and Abu Dhabi has been my hometown for 6 years. I would say I grew up pretty wild because my parents didn't set any strict rules or put pressure on my achievements. And okay, this might sound like I'm showing off a little, but because I was already the top student, meeting and even exceeding expectations, and therefore there really was no need to stress about shaping myself to fit society's mold, because I already did. However, when I came back to Korea for high school, everything was different. Getting stuck 12 hours a day in a study room where the air suffocates me, the school bell that rings at the most accurate timings, and most of all, the pressure of grades, the realization that all of them were tied to college. I was suddenly a competitor in a race for university, for recognition, and for success that everybody longs for. My first test scores were a shock. That's when I realized that I might have started up a little slower than others who spend half of their life in academies. And admitting this fact, I chose not to let numbers decide my value. I set my own standard of success. And sometimes this meant falling behind and maybe feeling a bit distant from the rest. However, had I not only focused on academical aspects, but also in finding out my true interests and values as well. Instead of chasing the title knowledgeable elite that everybody longs for, I aimed to be something else, a sincere, well-rounded individual. And surprisingly, I found that society and I met somewhere in the middle. At Samsung High School, I joined the Iris team, the student council, and became the key member of a basketball team. And through these roles, had I not only fulfilled society's expectations for leadership and contributions, but on my own terms satisfied my own interests and values as well, and I think that is what is meaningful. And this is what I've learned. School is a small society, and just as I shape my position in it, it in turn shapes me. So how do I balance society's expectations with my own? By creating space for both. A space where I can intervene and reshape anytime. And taking ownership of my own choices, and most importantly, growing not as a puppet, but as the one holding the strings. Thank you so much for listening.
네, 아까 오늘 박수를 부탁드려보도록 하겠습니다.